Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now we're taking a look here today at Harmony One, which is a fantastic coin. It's a Bitcoin I've actually been invested in for some time. I trust me, this is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not going to have any bias. We just look at the technical charts to make sure you make an informed decision. Now I want to thank Yanni, first of all, for recommending that I cover this here today. It's been on my to-do list for some time, but when my patrons ask, I try to respond and get you what you need. So thank you so much for that. Now, if you're not already a patron, consider subscribing. I actually provide signals to my community members, buy signals, sell signals, profit targets, everything you really need to be more effective so you can kind of more so go on autopilot, but also learn as much as you can along the way, right? So I teach as much as I can to ensure that you know why I take my trades, and that way you can kind of do that on your own, because I firmly believe in being more self-sufficient, learning as much as you can from other people, but also developing your own style. So check that out in your own time, of course. Happy to have you along. We have a private chat, a lot of good stuff where I stay very active and we communicate openly, and it's been a great experience so far. Close to 50 members in only 2 months. So awesome, awesome stuff there. Thank you so much. Now, moving forward, again, not a financial advisor. You're here to learn. I hope you learn as much as you possibly can. So let's go ahead and get to it. Without further ado, let's check out the charts. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Harmony One. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, get a quick baseline on the market so we know exactly what's going on. Because obviously Bitcoin took a pretty big hit recently, and some other coins are really taking off regardless of that fact, which is fantastic to see. But also note, ERC20 blockchain, a lot of coins are on that blockchain, of course, so it's really important to look at that too. So that's why we just take a quick peek at both. Because if you don't know generally what's going on in the market, it's going to be hard to make an informed decision, because really everything is reliant on Bitcoin to an extent, and same with the ERC20 blockchain for other coins as well. And just before we get started, this is TradingView.com desktop application. I recommend the paid versions. I have a link in the description below for a free month if you want to try it before you buy it, see if you like it. But you're going to get more than 2 indicators present at any given time, and it just really helps be able to do what I do every single day, right? So keep that in mind. If you're not as advanced as I am, that's perfectly fine. Just kind of casual. Free version's okay. But I do recommend something along those lines, because having more than 2 indicators present at any given time is very helpful. Having to disable and enable them all the time is very tedious. You'll see what I'm saying if you get into this a little bit further, but regardless, check that out in your own time. This is Bitcoin, the 4-hour chart. And just to clarify, obviously we are looking at a couple of major channels here. Now, Bitcoin has been working itself into channels between 44,000 and 46,800 and 46,800 and 50,000. Broke above, of course, but it got too high for its britches and it came crashing back down. And that was basically just weekend growth. Okay, so keep in mind the weekends are controlled by the average consumer because there's less volume, therefore the price jumps up a lot faster. That's why we, kind of gives you that false sense of security going into the weekend. Hey, this is great, awesome, price is increasing. So in a bull market that happens, but Monday and Tuesdays, it comes crashing back down. If you look back, and I did this with my patrons here recently, if you look back 5 weeks, the last, 6 weeks. The last 5 out of the last 6 weeks, Mondays and Tuesdays have been significant red days. They've dropped by about 5 to 10% just to start the week. So it happens more often than not, and it's very unfortunate, but it's just because the whales come back in, they take their profits, tank the system, kind of just hit that rinse and repeat. So if you know what they're going to be doing, you can kind of adjust for that, right? Either way, can't say I didn't warn you. Be on the lookout this upcoming Monday and Tuesday. We'll see what happens, right? Of course, it could be a different story because there's a major decrease here that we see that occurred yesterday. That was an 18.97% from top to bottom in one. It wasn't even a full 24 hours. This happened like 8 hours. Okay. So again, El Salvador, I'm so sorry you had a rough start, but this is essentially the El Salvador candle. But what we're at right now, just so you know, is we are currently trending below the resistance, right? The resistance is 46,800, broke above for a moment, came back down below. The key takeaway here is that the 1-day chart has to close above this level for us to allow for it to be considered a support level. Right now it's considered resistance, therefore it'll probably stay in this channel, may even work its way down to 44,000. I know a lot of people are entering or opening short positions right now with that sentiment. I don't personally feel it's going to go that low, but oftentimes when the price comes down this fast, it takes a little while for it to recover. So I know we all want for the price to just ramp back up. It probably won't do that for a little while, maybe later in the week, or probably not even for another week or two, just in the sense of the fact that, imagine this. This is an analogy I like to use. If you fall down a flight of stairs and you break your bones, you're going to take you a lot longer to get up and recover, right? versus just kind of tripping and falling down one step, or falling on some rocks, you get some gravel in your knee, but you can walk it off, right? You can't walk this kind of thing off, right? It takes forever, it takes a while to recover. So just know we're still very much in a bull market. You compare September 2013, 2017 to 2021, it's almost identical every single 4 years, right? So reference my 4-year cycle video and you'll kind of learn more there. Regardless, that's just kind of what's going on with Bitcoin. Okay, we spent too much time there. Sorry about that. Moving on to Ethereum. Simply put, we've got major support and resistance levels here, very similar to Bitcoin. The resistance right now is 35.5, so 3,550. That's what I mean. And then, of course, 3,250 is the support here. So we got a $300 channel here that's kind of working itself within. If it breaks above, it could be off to 4150. 4150 is the major resistance. That's the previous all-time high that closed on the one-day chart. But for right now, simply put, we are stuck underneath this resistance level here of 3550. All right, moving on to Harmony One. Now, thank you again to my community members for requesting I cover this here. This is definitely a good coin, something worth investing in. I've been hodling this for some time now, and I'm happy to see it finally come back to life. Because I mean, man, it was just stuck in no zone for a long time there. It was kind of unfortunate. But it finally looks like it's breaking out. Let's go ahead and find out why. First of all, let's look at the one-day chart, quickly identify its average true range, and then work our way down to see if we can identify any other potential areas of opportunity. So it's most previous all-time high. Again, this is just when the one-day chart closed. That's what we consider the all-time high. It's a major resistance. Obviously, the all-time high is somewhere in the range of about 22 cents, but that really doesn't matter. We're looking right here at about 20 cents. And isn't that interesting? It's almost exactly 20 cents. So I just want you to know this, if you don't already understand this. Support and resistance levels develop at very, very round numbers. It's always 20 cents, 21 cents. It's rarely like 20.25 or an odd number, because the way that everything, kind of the way that we think, the way that we work, we always choose round numbers. And just know that's kind of just a general philosophy. You'll notice that round numbers are oftentimes the case. So if you're going to put, have a stop loss, or try to take your profits, do it just below or just above those points, and you'll have much better luck. Regardless, that's kind of where we're at there. So the all-time high was kind of tested today. Didn't quite get there, but it was 19.7. So 19.7 cents. It kind of came close, came in the range. So it's testing its previous all-time high to an extent, right? It's really close there. And then the most recent high, and we want to honor this as well, that was tested twice. Anytime you see two or more identical testings, so to speak, where the price got stopped out at that exact point, that's going to be a major support or resistance level. Again, on the one-day chart, that's what you look for. So this could be a very, very well a support level moving forward. So if we can get the price to close above, that's another 3.5 hours, above 17.5 cents. And we're going to be looking pretty good here to see it work itself into a channel between 17.5 and 20 cents to eventually break to the upside and likely take off from there. And I say likely just based on the fact that this is a large market capitalization coin. Just before altcoin season occurs, large market cap coins take off. So we saw it with ADA, Solana. I've covered a few other ones as well. Algorand, I think even Atom is taking off right now. So a lot of other coins are just exploding, and they're usually sub 50 market capitalization. There was like the top 50. This one is one of them. No pun intended. This is the one, and it'll probably continue to take off to start making new highs. And you kind of signal this here when Ethereum starts kind of breaking, previous records. It's a sure sign that something's going to happen soon. Now, Ethereum didn't break its recent all-time high, but it came very close recently. The only reason why it's not there right now at 4150 is because the Bitcoin sell-off for El Salvador yesterday, which was essentially just another judgment day, right? It came down 20%. So anyways, that's kind of what happened there. So moving on, we're looking at the 4-hour chart next, but just to quickly note, I don't see any convergence there. It did bounce, but that's perfectly normal in this situation. Because again, Harmony 1 was probably going to take off regardless. So it looks like it was prepping and ready to ramp up, but it got stunned out with that candlestick from yesterday. So it was, difficult, right? But back on track now. Things are looking very good here. So let's look at the 4-hour chart, kind of see what's going on. We're above both simple moving averages. No surprise there. It's going to continue to push the price upwards. We got the RSI, which is nice. Look at this here. It's actually staying just above 70, but it's not like going out of really out of ordinary there. In other words, not going to 90, 95. When RSI gets that high, it always has a tendency of retracing. In this case, it's looking very, very good. So that's a very healthy RSI. And let's see if we can identify here. We had a MACD convergence on September 8th at 5 a.m. That was yesterday. Let's go ahead and mark that on the calendar. I've been calling the charts calendars lately. I don't know why I keep doing that. Obviously, it's got time on there, right? And every time I look at the time, I say calendar. Regardless, this is a chart. We're looking at the chart. And in that sense, I just marked the 4-hour convergence on the MACD here. So we can kind of see if there's a correlation between the Ishimoku cloud. I like to draw that correlation because then we have not just one indicator present, but 2 or more that give us buy signals to go long. Now, I wish in retrospect I had set up an alert for this, because then I could have been notified on the MACD convergence and essentially picked this up. But regardless of that fact, we're looking pretty good here still, because I think that it is still a great likelihood of the previous high being broken. So we'll look at that here in just a moment. Not much else to really note here except for the fact that we do have, I'm going to mark this here as well. This was a previous or more recent resistance, but now it's going to be considered a support. Right at about 16 cents, we have a support level if we lose this support here of roughly 17.5. Okay. So looking at the 1-hour chart, here's what we do. We turn off the SMAs because they're no longer relevant, and we enable Ishimoku cloud. Let's go ahead and take a look here and see. Now this is a little clunky because we had this big retracement here that kind of put the cloud in a weird place. But regardless of that fact, the price still broke above right when the 4-hour chart notified us we have a convergence on the MACD. So if you're kind of new to just trading in general, one of the best indicators to look for is a 4-hour chart. Look at the MACD on the 4-hour chart. It gives us kind of buy signals to go long, more so for swing trading rather than day trading, obviously. Now you can still day trade in that sense to identify that it's going to converge and then buy in, but it's more so beneficial in the long term because, as you can see here, it broke above the cloud, broke above the the convergence essentially, but it took a little while to take off, right? I mean, what that is almost a full 24-hour period before it just broke here today. So that being said, looking pretty good in that sense, but again, the price is above the cloud, therefore it's considered a buy signal, so that was an awesome time to buy it back there, of course. I know hindsight's 20/20, but I just like to educate you on this so you can know what to look for moving forward. And again, everything I'm looking at here today, I do this consistently in my signal group, right? So I have a link in the description below for my Patron account. Check that out in your own time, of course, but I can tell you that I have about an 80% success rate, and I share all of my trades with my community members. And everything you're going to learn here today, I exercise that day in and day out. Because in the last 15 years of trading, I can tell you I've learned some things, and I've learned to become patient, and also, more importantly, you have to honor your risk tolerances and to make sure that you work within a specific guidelines. Now, all the guidelines that I'm providing to you here are things that I work within that keep me successful. It's not an overnight success by any means. You can try to apply this and it may not work well for you. That's why I want you to educate yourself on best practice for a lot of different circumstances. Don't just listen to what I say as the end all be all. It works really well for me, but you want to develop your own trading style, right? But if I can help with that, please feel free to jump on in there because we do have a private chat channel and we all learn and grow together. And just like this one here, this is a request from my community members. I make videos like this for you. Moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at TD sequential. Now, if you're not familiar with TD sequential, it's a really good indicator to make sure to utilize. Now, in this case here, with the price going kind of sideways and then spurting up like this, we're going to probably see some inconsistencies. In other words, we were looking for a 9 in most cases. So if we see this here, we can see this 8. In other words, this 8 reset because of the fact that the 4th previous candlestick was higher. In other words, it has to be lower. You don't have to remember that or memorize it, but when you see a 9, traditionally speaking, on the TD sequential, you're going to notice that there's going to be likely a retracement. Now, this could retrace even still. That's why we use support levels more so than the indicators, because of the simple fact that when we're in this territory here where we're getting close to previous all-time highs, or we're going to exceed those, all you can really do is rely on those indicators present. In other words, the support and resistance levels. Other indicators help you, but they're not as effective, right? So just keep that in mind. You could also use Fibonacci retracement to kind of draw these lines here as well. They'll probably sync up pretty close to what I've just drawn here so far, based on the simple fact that the industry leaders are utilizing that, and that's where the price is getting stopped out more frequently than not, right? So just little things to look at. Now moving forward to the 15-minute chart, let's go ahead and take a quick look here. Now I like to look at the EMA and VWAP notification. It's kind of null and void at this point based on the the jump, the spike that we had here. So we see the jump up here. That is like a 27, almost about a 28% increase in 15 minutes alone, or just say 30 minutes. It jumped up about 28%. So it has to go sideways for some time here. We want this price to go sideways and to kind of bounce and stay above 17 cents, or what was it? Was it 17.5? Yeah, 17.5 cents, and then come back up to test the previous all-time high. We want that to happen, because if this just keeps on, keeps on coming on, like if it just keeps doing one of these, it goes up like this, it's gonna actually crash back down, right? It may not be that hard, but generally speaking, when you have an increase that substantial, it has to retrace because the standard deviation between the price and the volume weighted average price is too high. It's too extreme. Let me show you what I mean by that. So this blue line here is the volume weighted average price. That is the line that's basically working as a support and resistance level, right? So you can see right here, it was bouncing and it stayed above. Let me do this better. So right there, it keeps coming down, it rejects EMA and bounces off the VWAP. When the price bounces up like it did, of course, obviously went very high, very fast. But generally speaking, we should expect this to work as a support level moving forward. So what's nice is that, as the price continues to level out, the VWAP will start to continue to average itself out too, and likely intersect with 17.5 cents. Okay, so we want the price to kind of go sideways and the VWAP to intersect with it. Now the VWAP is nice because it takes the volume last 24 hours, expresses as a price. It's designed specifically for a traditional trading day, whereas 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is the end of the trading day. That's like the post-market hours, because the market closes at 1, and then you go on to to 5 p.m. That's basically a 4-hour post-market trading hours. You don't need to memorize all that, but that is essentially 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time zone that is for you. That's when the VWAP will reset the standard deviation lines. And what I mean by that is that standard deviation lines are these lines here. So if you can kind of see that, again, it's a little funky because we have this increase here, but if you see the price, what this does is the standard deviation lines, obviously you see 5 p.m. Pacific right there, it resets, but these continue to work. When the price is well above, it has to come back down. So this is why you saw the price come back down here, because it was way too high above the actual standard deviation lines. Same thing here as well. You see how high this is above the deviation lines? That's why it's going to come back down. It's going to have that natural gravity that's going to come and bring the price back down. So again, the hope is that the price goes sideways, stays above 17.5 cents. This one-day candlestick closes above 17.5, and then it works itself into a channel between 17.5 and 20 cents, and then breaks the previous all-time high. Once the VWAP has a chance to catch up and essentially allow for the price to stabilize, because again, we look at the deviation here. Let's just go from the current price action right now. We're at about 9%. That's comfortable. Anything over 10% I've noticed is a problem, and the price will likely come crashing back down. Okay, so again, just something to consider, to think about, etc. A lot of stuff I know I'm dumping on you here. If you're new, you'll learn this over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but I can assure you that these are all little things that start to add up. So if you're more of a swing trader, don't worry too much about this. But the key takeaway here and the benefit of the VWAP is just it's a support and resistance level. So if you enable that yourself and look at it, you're not sure how to use it, just consider it as a support and resistance. And then of course, pay attention if it's way too far away from the price action, it'll probably come back down. Okay. So I hope this didn't provide more questions than answers. That's kind of the point here, is to obviously help you. But what I want to take away here, your main takeaway is that we have some support and resistance levels, right? Let me go ahead and extend this out a little further. So first of all, we've got 16 cents as a secondary support. Primary support, 17.5 cents. Major resistance at 20 cents. Okay, so if you're in the green right now, you're taking profit, or you haven't taken profit yet, maybe consider trimming a little bit. And what I mean by that is, take some profits while you still can. Adjust your stop loss to at least 16 cents. And then at that point, if the price stays above 17.5, and Bitcoin continues to progress upwards, because again, a lot of this is contingent on Bitcoin actually doing well. Now, even though I recognize that Harmony 1 is on its own track right now, right? It's doing very good. It's retracing right now because Bitcoin didn't stay above 46,800 though, right? So if we get Bitcoin to stay above 46,800 in the next 3.5 hours, we're going to be in pretty good shape to be able to see this continue to take off, right? If it stays below and just keeps getting pushed down, gets stuck between 44 and 46.8, there's a good chance that Harmony 1 will have trouble breaking that previous all-time high. Will it still break it? Yeah, I think it will. I honestly feel like this has enough momentum and it'll do very well. It's proven to do very well in the past. If you look back here in March, it killed. But obviously it retraced back down because it had to. That's that natural law. It jumped up 100%, had to come down 50%, then it started to average itself out right there. So yeah, that being said, just be careful, adjust your stop loss as is, take the profits while you still can. It wouldn't hurt to trim your position 25, 50% maybe at this point, wait for the price to bounce off support, add that profit back to your position when you're comfortable with Bitcoin's progress, right? Again, pay attention to Bitcoin. It matters in this scenario. Believe it or not, it really does help. So I hope you did find benefit, of course. If you do, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Patron account. I'll be happy to see you on there. I'm very active and we all communicate openly and have a great time. And the bottom line is just that we want to help you educate yourself to become a better trader, right? So I have a lot of people in there, a lot of students, however you want to call it, and we all essentially learn and we're growing together, and it's been a great experience so far. Close to about 50 members in only about 2 months. So awesome stuff. Thank you again to my current subscribers. Really appreciate you. You know who you are. You mean the world to me. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you. Take care.